I'm Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg, and I have here with me today Cheryl Herny from Nightberry Solutions. Okay, I was going to say Title Group. What is it? She's coming to us to explain basically about title insurance and title policies and basically why we need them. Before I ask her some questions and stuff, I want to kind of go through if you're a new buyer or you're purchasing a home or you're a seller, you have to have title insurance. And we basically have been going through this, basically we got them pre-approved, and then we found out the area that we wanted to live in, and then we were putting in the offers is how kind of the videos go for us and stuff. And now we're actually, you've got an offer and you're sending it into the title, actual title company. And that's where Cheryl comes in. She makes sure that the house that you're purchasing has no liens on it. So you don't want to buy something that there's an existing mortgage on it. You don't want to buy something where there's a water lien on it. And so that's where Cheryl's company is, Nightberry, and she's the branch manager there. So tell us, Cheryl, when I bring you that policy, I know it normally takes me about 30 days to get the title work done and stuff. What's your initial thing when you actually get the contract in? What do you look at?
So when the contract comes in, the first thing we do is, obviously you guys have 24-hour period to turn in the earnest money deposit?
Right. Well, 3 days. Yeah.
3 days. Okay.
Yeah.
So
unless
3 days.
You change it, but the contract on the front is standard is like 3 days. So.
Okay. So when we get all that, everything started. That's your starting process.
Right.
We start the title search, and what that does is that'll look for any liens on the property, any foreclosures, any mortgages, any liens that the county has put on the property, anything that's going to create a lien that has to be paid off in order for the new buyer to take it free and clear.
Right. Okay.
We'll do a municipal lien search. We'll check the water, electric, let's see what else, codes and permits.
Okay.
To make sure those are also paid.
Right, and make sure all your permits are closed out, right?
Closed out.
Yeah, because that can be a nightmare as far as, realtors go.
Right.
If you see a permit open.
Yep.
So the reason that they do this is because your bank that you're purchasing your mortgage through wants to make sure that there's not another mortgage in place. There's no liens against it. So now when you're doing that takes about the whole process. If it's a cash sale, a couple of weeks. If it's a normal mortgage, it's about 30 days.
Right. Well, cash deal, those can probably get done 5 to 7 days.
Right.
Granting that title is clear.
Right.
The municipal lien search is clear. And if you do live if you purchase a home in an association, we also get an estoppel letter. And that will check for any dues that are delinquent.
In a homeowners association.
The homeowners association, yep. Any delinquent dues, what the dues are as far as amount, and the time frame, whether they're monthly, quarterly, annually, or anything like violations that the seller has that also have to be paid.
Right, and so a lot of people don't know that too, that on the HOA, the estoppels they're not free. So the seller is paying for an estoppel. I mean, I've seen them I've seen them average like 150, 100 to 300 we've seen,
Yes.
And if you have more than one HOA and you're a seller, you have two estoppels.
You have two estoppels, and they're pricey. There's nothing that we can do, and we cringe right along with the sellers.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, they're charging this much. Got to have it done.
Right, and so a lot of times, as far as the people that are watching, we're trying to educate them from square one. So right now they're like, what's an estoppel? So basically we're stopping the HOA, making sure there's no back fees, making sure that you don't owe 1 single cent to the HOA before it's transferred to the new homeowner.
Correct.
And that isn't free. They do that usually through an attorney, and the attorney writes up through the HOA.
Or a management company.
Right.
Depends if they're self-managed or...
Right.
The only times we really deal with attorneys is when it's in a foreclosure.
Right.
And then we have to, or they're so delinquent and they put a lien, the association has put a lien on the property.
Then
we have to deal with attorneys. And that's where it's going to cost much more than a regular management company and association.
The ones with the attorneys have the higher fees.
Exactly. Yes, they charge you for a phone call.
Right. And exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Their time is money.
Yes.
Yeah. Yours is not. But no, just kidding. All my attorneys.
Yeah, no.
We love attorneys. We're just kidding. Yeah. So you have your contract, And now you don't do this as a buyer or seller. If you have an agent, your agent's taking this contract and sending it to Cheryl, and then Cheryl's reviewing it. She's looking at the closing date to see how much time she actually has to get all this title policy done. And then who your lender is, she's looking at that, and she's going to reach out to them and make sure they're in the same, like the loop with them. And then also in your contract, it's going to say if you're a cash buyer, if you're conventional, which we discussed, if you're FHA, if you're VA, average conventional is about 30 days closed. Sometimes FHA VAs can be 30 to 45 days lately with the COVID, because appraisers are taking longer and stuff. So she's going to have all your stuff in front of you. If there's any closing costs that your seller is paying for you, then you're going to basically see that too.
Right.
And you're going to put that on the actual, at the very end of it.
All your numbers, when numbers all get added up, everything will be on there.
Right. But you can so we were just talking about that. So she has, it's called Nightberry One, an app that you can use for a seller to show them the closing costs.
Right. Seller or buyer.
Okay.
It's very versatile. It's Nightberry Agent or Nightberry One. We'll pass it on. You throw in your username, your password.
Nice.
You're all in, and it will throw in your sellers if you're working with the buyer or you're working with the seller. Either one, it works both ways. And if your seller is going to pay certain costs, it gives you the option to move those costs over, and it gives you a really good idea of what your seller will be bringing. Title insurance is the big one, and doc stamps are your two big ones that people pretty much call about.
Right. Okay. So now title insurance, we know that we just discussed that. That is basically saying there's no liens and encumbrances on the house as far as for taxes. All your taxes are paid up. Your mortgages are paid up. Right. All that stuff's going to be free. So tell us what are doc stamps, because again, we're starting.
Well, again, doc stamps. The seller will pay typically the documentary stamps on the warranty deed.
Right.
And that's a government charge fee.
I always
every
think of
transaction.
Like when you're selling a car and you're doing it yourself, you've got to pay
exactly.
Know what I mean? You got usually the buyer will pay the tax on it, but on this case, in the state of Florida, seller standard.
Well, on the warranty deed, and then on the mortgage side, if the buyer does have a mortgage, and they pay their document stamps, their transfer taxes on their mortgage.
Right.
It's just intangible taxes, just like a car title, as you mentioned.
Right.
Mobile home, same idea.
Right.
Those
yeah.
have
So
to
if
be
you
paid.
buy a mobile home, and it's a whole nother show.
Right.
To talk about that. So I was. A lot of times people will say, well, why should I have that? Because I know I'm the only person that owned it, and I'm just going to take a quick claim deed, and I'm just going to transfer that to my friend Sally, because Sally knows me, and I don't have, I have no liens on it. I paid clear. My grandma left it to me for cash. And so what would you tell them?
Title insurance protects you as a buyer.
Right.
To make sure that even though Sally says, oh, no, I've owned it for 30 years, there's no liens. Where did Sally get it from? Maybe she got it inherited from mom or dad or a sibling, an aunt or uncle, and she's owned the house. And then you decide, okay, I trust Sally. She's owned it for 30 years. What could be wrong with the property?
Right.
So then when the buyer goes in and say, okay, it's time to flip the house and sell it now, you've got it on a quit claim deed, which there's no title insurance, which will protect you as a buyer, and liens pop up, and the title is clouded. And what that means is there's liens on the property.
Right.
It's not clear. It's not free and clear
Someone's
of anything.
paying for that, to get that title clear.
So it's a peace of mind. It's a big investment for you as a first-time home buyer. If this is your retirement home, it's a big purchase, not just, $100. Here you go.
Right. So like on $100,000, like $100,000 home, which there's hardly any $100,000 home.
Right.
But it's about like what, $1,200 or somewhere in there, right? 12, depending on, who's paying what and all that for a seller. And then for the buyers, probably about the same, because you're paying all the taxes and mortgage to respond. But that's good. So a lot of people ask me about like the auctions that are open. So a lot of people are like, oh, I could buy this house on auction, but you have to take them, they don't go that far back. And I think the IRS liens are issue, right, on the auction houses?
Well, yes, definitely. But when you buy an auction house, definitely get title insurance. Definitely. I mean, it's bank owned now. You know,
Right.
your auction houses are bank owned properties. And when you get a deed from the bank, it's what they call a special warranty deed.
Right.
They only clear from the day they owned it until you buy it.
They buy it, yeah.
You know, and any homeowners associations dues that were due prior to the sellers, anything like that, those have to be paid.
Right.
They don't just disappear.
Right. Yeah. So for instance, if you're buying from an auction, I think the Hubs, Hubzoo or
Hubzoo.
auction, the sites,
Right.
they'll say, get your own title policy. And if you do that, it's your own cost. But then
Right.
that
It's a
1,000,
peace of
2,000
mind.
will
Yes.
save you 100, 200,000.
And stress and
Yeah.
headache and running around.
Right.
And yes.
I just had one, totally off subject, but I just had one, and there was a sewer assessment impact, which was weird because the whole place was sewer, and it was basically billed to them over so many years, and the buyer didn't know about it. But on your contracts as a realtor, who's a realtor tip of the day, you can put assessments paid in full by the seller,
Right.
And then that way, if the seller has any assessments, like they forgot about the paving assessment.
Paving
for the
assessments
road.
of a common one.
Yeah, they forgot about the sewer assessment. They forgot about just different assessments that basically things that you forget that you're paying to have the paving done in your road, stuff
Right.
like that. So it'll say it'll say this much a year per year, but if you check this box, then the seller has to pay it. A lot of sellers are shocked then too, because they're like, I didn't know I owed this $3,000 in paving assessments. I don't want to pay this all at once. And then the
Right.
buyer and the seller then can negotiate
And
if you want to
normally,
pay them.
your paving assessments have now become a part of your tax bill too.
Right, right.
So if you look on the tax bill,
can see that
it'll be on
assessment
there
on
too.
there.
It'll be very easy to see, very easy to find.
Right. Yeah. For some reason, the one I just had, the sewer assessment, wasn't on there, but I was glad that I had the little box checked. It's only, I say it's only because I'm not paying for it. It's only $895. It's not that much money. Yeah. So, So what on the a lot of people ask me what it covers as far as title insurance goes, and then a lot of people ask me what it doesn't cover. So, what do you think as far as like
Title insurance covers actual liens on the property.
Right.
Let's just say that a municipal lien search, we do municipal lien searches through third-party companies. Those third-party companies also have to have their own insurance, their own E&Os, and their to protect them if they've missed something too.
Right.
So if in closing we had said, hey, title company, you missed a water. There's now $800 outstanding water bill, which is not uncommon.
Right.
They freak out. They give us a call and they'll say, call your agent. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. And they call me.
And we in turn can go back to that company and say, look, there's an outstanding water bill that you guys missed. They will cover that.
Right.
But title insurance does not cover that because it's not a lien on the property.
Right, and I think that's in the disclosures that you sign. You know what I mean? That if there's
Right.
if there's something that's problematic between the two of them, that they agree to work it out after closing.
Yes.
And that's good too, because if you're selling something, and even if you're in a situation where not that you need a mediator, but you kind of like you don't know the seller, and the buyers and sellers don't know each other. A title person is another. It's not their agent. It's not your agent. It's someone who's just totally non-biased. She's sitting between you guys. And, basically, well, now it's COVID. She's in one room with you with a mask, and then you're in another room with a mask. But she's helping you, explaining to you your mortgage, too, if you're the buyer, as far as like, when you sit down with them, you're not only clearing that title, but now you're taking the time to go, you're signing this. What does this mean? This is your amortization. What's an amortization? This is how much an amortization is how much you actually end up spending on your purchase.
Right.
So, your $200,000 home turns into $600,000. Don't ever read amortization or you cry. But actually right now, it's low right now. Only, the interest rates are low, so it's not as bad. But it used to be like, I'd see houses for $300,000 and then at the end they pay like 1 point something million for them.
Yeah, most of your money goes towards the interest the first 5-10 years of this house.
Right. Right. So she'll sit there and she'll do the mediation between you guys. And if it's down to, like, I think at one time, totally off subject again, but I had a closing and the guy wanted light bulbs. He was so upset that he didn't think that the lights worked in the house, so I had to go out. And he said that a bunch of light bulbs were missing, and he was, grumpy. And so I put all the light bulbs in and took pictures of them working, and had to bring him extra light bulbs for all the other bulbs because he said that they were going to be old.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, so I give Cheryl the light bulbs.
There's just some things that's sometimes it's as easy as a light bulb, and it's done. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a bigger challenge.
Yeah. Well,
and that's where the realtors will come in.
Yeah.
This is why sometimes we're like, we should have had a realtor. And people try to save money, and I get it. But sometimes those realtors, hey, you know what? You as a buyer, you as a seller, you're out. Let these realtors work it out.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that call.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I had that call like a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've had them basically when we're sitting at the closing office, and the buyer, I'll have on one I had the seller, I don't know, I won't mention names, but I had the seller, and they were moving to a new house. They were very excited, had a load of kids, didn't have time to clean.
A load of kids.
Like 5. Didn't have time to clean the refrigerator, the stove, the drawers in the kitchen, and then the buyer came in and was practically crying because she had to clean it all. So I was trying to get a cleaning agent. And I do have a cleaner that will go right out, but you guys were at the closing, and I ran out. So then I'm there cleaning their kitchen, and I'm all dressed up for the closing, and the cable guy's in there, and he's like, "What, are you the cleaner?" And I'm like, "I'm the real estate agent. I'm cleaning all the kitchen cabinets."
And I have to tell you, there's some agents that will go above and beyond, and you have to be careful when you're picking your agent. Do your in all that you do. You have to do your homework. You have to make sure you get an agent, one that you're going to get along with, and work for you.
Right. Yeah, who's on your team?
Your title company, somebody that's going to be exactly on your side. You know, when you same thing as a buyer, you're going to go to mortgage company. You're not going to just go to some guy that is not going to do anything. Not going to do anything for you.
Right. Yeah. And they want to keep you in the loop, give you updates.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So, but yeah, that as far as title agencies and title work, I would never buy a property without, an actual title company and stuff too. There's good deals, but sometimes you get to find out why it's such a good deal when you get the title work back and you're like, right. Here's why it's a good deal. So now if you're purchasing for cash and stuff too, that's another question too. You have to fill out a 1099, right? If it's over a certain amount, because a lot of investors.
Not just cash.
Right.
It's not just any cash deal. If it's not your primary home,
right?
We have to issue a 1099, and that's also a big thing because 1099s are based off of the sales price, not your gross, not what you're going to take home and in your pocket, and then it's up to you as a seller to do your accounting, to take it to your accountant, if you do your own taxes, whatever it is, to whatever you've put into the house, your loss, your mortgage,
right?
And that's what you'll pay taxes on if you get paid taxes if it's not your primary home.
Right. Yeah. And if it's your primary home, then you're okay up to.
Right.
They just changed it. It was $250,000 each, but now it's higher.
Yeah, now it's changed. Yes.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So basically, we've got kind of going over all the title work and title insurance and why you need it. So when we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back and go to the second stage of title, what she does, and some different ideas for you guys. Again, I'm with Cheryl Herny, and she's from Knight Berry, and they're located on Seven Springs Boulevard in Trinity. And we'll just check back in just a second. So stay with us for more, and also the SPCA after, and you can see the dog of the week. Thank you. Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg. I've been with them for 15 years, and I got Cheryl today with me from Knight Berry, and she's explaining different things to us. If you're an agent and you have some questions, you can give me a call, or if you're a buyer or seller, I'd be glad to help you too. So we were just talking about title insurance and title work, and one of the first things that we were going over was actually the deposit. When you put your escrow deposit on your house and your contract, what actually happens there. So we had Cheryl, we were just talking about it off the camera, she was telling us about the Zachem app.
It's an amazing app, especially now with the whole COVID and people don't want to go to the bank and wait in line. They don't want to have to go to the bank and then run to the title company and drop the deposit off. There are 24 hours and they've lost all this time. They're stressed out. They can't make it. It doesn't matter where you are. People call us out of state. Hey, how can I get the earnest money deposit to you? Download this app, register, take a picture of it, boom, done.
Okay, so it's kind of like the Wells Fargo deposits, except for a title company that you can just throw in the account.
Yeah, and it's not just a Zelle, and it's not, whatever
Like
bank, whatever cash apps, whatever like that, because not a lot of title companies will use those.
Right,
for those
right,
personal little bank-related apps. This is an actual Nightberry title Zachem.
Right.
And you go there, you pick Nightberry title, take a picture, and it'll tell you on there, upload your contract. You don't have to upload that contract. Check the box, already sent, done. Easiest thing ever. You can send your earnest money deposit that way, and you can also send your funds at the end at closing that way.
That was my next question. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
It's amazing.
So there's no money limit on that, and there's no hold.
No.
It's instant wire. Oh, wow, that's awesome.
Yes.
Now, do they
Yes,
charge
exciting.
a fee for that, like the bank?
No, because it's
that's good.
our app.
Right.
It's one of the
okay.
title company apps.
That's
So
amazing. So usually at the end of it, that people will get upset too, because when you go to the bank, especially now, you have to make an appointment at the bank, and then it's at least $25 for your wire, depending on which bank it is. They'll charge you a wire. So if it's Wells Fargo and you have your money in there, I'm not bad mouthing Wells Fargo or Bank of America.
Yeah, any bank, whatever bank you have, you're going to get a fee, incoming and outgoing.
And then a lot of people misunderstand that too, because they'll say, well, I can do it from my home computer. And like you said, Zelle has a limit. And it takes like 3 days for it to get through.
Right. And you have to already have that app, because then you have to connect your bank and connect Zelle. They send you a penny. You confirm that penny, then another 9 cents. You have to confirm that 9 cents. That's already 24 hours gone.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so also most of those escrows are anywhere, like you said, 24 hours.
Right.
The average is, 3 days on the escrow. And with the COVID, we're just not going into the banks where I used to just walk in and say, can I get this wire? Can I get an appointment with this banker?
Or sit in the lobby and just wait. Now they don't even let you sit in the lobby.
Yeah, you have to go. I mean, I went through SunTrust, totally off subject. I went off through SunTrust, had to get a wire. And then they said, do you have an appointment? I was through the drive-through, and I'm like, can I do this
even through the drive-through? Some let you go through the drive-throughs.
Yeah. Well, they won't let you.
They won't. No,
I had to go. They said, you have to come in. And we have to see if we have someone here to help you. And so I had to drive back around.
Oh, wow.
And then luckily they didn't. They just let me come in and stuff and do it then, because I was down to the wire myself.
Yeah.
And I'm a realtor. I should know better.
That's the thing. You're down to the wire, and you still don't have your funds. How much am I supposed? I still got to go to the bank. My bank closes at 4:00. How am I supposed to get you money?
Right.
We're closing in an hour. What do I send you? I got to go to the bank. Panic sets in.
Exactly.
It's okay. I'm going to send you my app, download the app, register, take a picture of a personal check, your cashier's check, money order, gone.
Right. And so some of you might wonder, like, why does it seem like that's such a big deal? Well, what happens if you don't escrow is that your house, that's as far as the contract goes, to keep under contract, to stay legal on that contract, you have 3 days. Most of them, if it's left blank, if they're new realtors, they usually won't fill it in, and they'll say 3 days, and then 3 days. Now you're not under contract. So if it's a property, like even especially auction properties, if you don't have that money in, you have problems.
Oh yes, that auction gun. They want proof.
Yeah.
They'll be calling the title company. Hey, we need that earnest money deposit, and I'm like, oh, we don't have it. Jessie, where's the deposit? Or, hey, realtor, where's the deposit? We call the buyers. Where's the deposit? The bank wants to see it.
Right, exactly.
They're going to be out of breach of contract, I guess it would be.
Yeah, so if you had someone who put a backup contract and it was higher, and you didn't escrow in your timeline, then you have problems, because they could literally say, sorry, your agent didn't escrow. You had your time 24 to,
right, and we don't have proof still.
Hours. Yeah, and you didn't escrow. But this app sounds amazing. So I got 2 apps now. I got the Berry one and I'm like,
Nightberry one.
Nightberry one. Yeah, Nightberry one. Yeah. And that's, we're going to put all the information on this. So if you need to rewind and go back, it's all on here and stuff too, which is amazing. 2020 brought us bad stuff, but also brought us some good stuff
Yes,
too.
absolutely. You
So
know,
Cheryl's a branch manager, so she's an expert. You know.
I have been in the title business 20 years, and I've been licensed probably 18 of those years.
Oh, wow.
You know, just as you as a realtor, you have to have your CEs to keep up your license, to keep up in what's going on in the realtor world, in the license world, in the,
Right.
you know, title world. Same thing with us. We have to be, you don't have to be licensed, but you stay up to date with what's going on.
Right. Yeah. So you want someone who is licensed so that they're up
So
to
they
date with
know
the
up to date
latest
what's going
thing.
on. Yes.
Yeah. That's the same with. I mean, we have to. I just did ethics. We just did the ethics
Right, yeah.
training and stuff like that, which is good. All your realtors should do ethics trainings. They should come to you naturally. You shouldn't have to read anything. Yeah, you should just be able to answer all the
Yeah,
questions.
right.
It's a little scary sometimes. I'm always like disclose, and disclose some more.
You know what? The more you disclose,
Yeah.
what is it? The more the better.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, so Cheryl's the person to call as far as title work, title policies, just general questions if you get stuck with something.
Yes, I will be more than happy to answer any questions, reservations, whatever it is you have.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Put you at ease.
Yeah, so you got your contract, you use your little app, get that money right over.
Yeah.
You're under contract, and then also at the end, you can wire the money there too.
You can wire the money as well.
Amazing.
You know, we give 3 options. The Zocam app, you can wire the funds.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, those are the 2 for as far as closing for the funds.
Right.
And as far as the earnest money, you do have the Zocam. You have wire, and then you can do, you know, just drop off the check. Come by the office and just drop off the check.
Right. So, you know, what's funny is because I'm old school, you know, I've been doing it 15 years, I'll say just bring the check in, you know, take the check over to the people. And then some of my newer clients.
Like, what are you talking about?
What, you have a check? What do you
Checks? What are checks? I don't know how to write a check.
Yeah, bring the check over. I'll show you how to fill it out. I know.
I gotta go get checks from the bank.
Yeah, what's a check? Yeah, I have to go over there with my daughter. She's 16. I'm like, I have to teach you how to fill out just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is amazing. So I have another question for you. Sometimes when people are writing out the deeds, I don't know if you'll know this question or not. I should have asked you ahead of time to make sure you know this.
I can answer anything, Jeff.
Yeah, yeah, put me on the spot, please.
Yeah, I love
this
challenges.
So a lot of people ask me how to title something. Like how is the best way to title it as far as, you know, in the state of Florida, if I have a husband and a wife and it's their primary residence, and the husband's name's just on the deed, and they'll say, well, does my wife have to come in?
Well, again, in the state of Florida, because Florida is a homestead state. Even though the husband is the only one in title, guess what, wife? You also own it even though you're not in title.
Right.
It's best to be in title, but like I said, if it's your primary home, you want to be in title, why not?
Yeah.
But as a married husband and wife, it's 50-50.
Right, so she's going to have to sign. She might not.
Right. And, you know, you get things at closing. Well, my wife isn't on the deed.
Yeah.
Is it your homestead property? Yes. Then yes, your wife has to sign, or whoever's entitled with you.
Right, right. Okay, so that was one of my questions. And then same thing when you're, you know, when you're buying, if you want your, you know, again, the wife maybe doesn't have great credit, or let's not pick on the wife so much. The husband doesn't have I get a credit. The wife's got excellent credit, got the mortgage, and then has her name on the deed, and is like, well, you know, but she wants to put his name on the deed too, and that's possible.
Well, and that's possible. A lot of lenders, if it's a cash deal, it's totally how you guys want to take title. You know, you want both on there. If you just want one person on there, a married woman, a married man, you know, but that automatically tells the other whoever's, you know, you decide to sell, oh, they were married, okay, but they're not entitled. So either she has to sign, or why doesn't she have to sign? Is she deceased, or is he deceased? Is she deceased?
So you're picking on her too.
Not their homestead property, so they don't have to sign. So there's a lot of different ways. And when people do these quit claim deeds, what we were talking about earlier, and they do these things, and then they decide to sell later, the new buyers, and now we have problems. Why? This man was a married man. Or they don't put anything, just
they don't.
Just Jessie Walters. No, nothing, no single, no married, nothing.
So on the
now
title,
we're like, ooh, was Jessie married? ooh, was she single? So now we have to go back and ask the buyer or the seller at this point,
proof.
did you know them? Were you friends, family? No. Do you know if they were married? Do you have a contact person? So those are the things that are going to take title companies longer to track when
Right.
those quitclaim deeds are done and they're not done correctly.
And when you're saying that, actually, you're talking about title as far as, so Jessie Walters, a married woman, that's how the title has to say,
Right.
not just,
Jessie
whether
Walters.
not just you're, a married, that part's actually on the title. So it'll say Jessie Walters, a married woman.
It can be a married person. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It can absolutely say married person. The key is married.
Right, saying married.
Single.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And
that-
there's two things in Florida, or not, I don't know the other states, but, people say, well, I'm single. I said, okay. Well, I'm separated. Okay, then you're married.
Right.
But I've been separated for 10 years. Okay, you're either single or you're married.
Right.
If you've been separated 10 years, you're estranged, you're still married.
Right.
We're going to have to figure that out.
Right, and I've had some of those. I mean, you've
That's
seen
tough.
them. You've seen
That's
them
tough.
where I've had have to chase people down, or we've had one. I had a purchaser on a foreclosure home. It was a state, and we actually had to send out. We had to get with an attorney. It had to send out
yeah.
all the stuff to every single possible family member. Like, in other words, people with just the
That's
same
to
name as you.
publish it, I guess.
Yeah. And that turned into,
Yeah.
that was supposed to be a 30-day close cash deal, turned into 6 months later.
Right.
We're still waiting for this correction of the deed, and
Yeah.
and also too, if people don't leave us, wills
Right.
and stuff,
Right.
you have the same type of thing
same
going
thing.
on. With
So
probate.
I strongly discourage any person to either see an attorney to take the title out and not do a quitclaim deed, but just try not to do it yourself.
Right. Yeah. So tell me about, what do you think about like the corporations are putting it into a trust? So say I'm buyer A, I have a trust, and I want to sell my property. What do you need to? Because a lot of people are into trusts now in Florida.
Yeah. So as long as when you do trust, title companies, if you don't, again, it goes back to how you're vested on the deed, on the title, on the quitclaim deed. Depends on how you're vested. And if you're holding property in a trust and you took it in as a, trustee has full power and authority to transfer, sell, convey, you have to have those certain powers in
Paperwork, right?
title to
Right.
be able to transfer the property.
Right.
We won't ask for a trust as long as those powers are in the deed. If they're not, if they're just a trust, we're going to ask for the trust. Who is the trustee?
Right.
Or if it's a co-trustee, we have to see that they are the co-trustee and why did they become the co-trustee. Same thing with corporations. We have to ask for articles.
Right. Articles of
And
incorporation.
see
Right.
who, in fact, is the
Right.
manager, the president, the vice president, and not everybody can sign.
Right. Yeah, and also too, like they were talking about, a lot of times, especially in Florida, they have like people come here to retire, and one spouse will
Yeah.
be deceased, and the deed will come up, and then just because just because they are deceased doesn't mean that we know. You have
Right.
to show proof. You have to have
Right.
a death certificate.
Because as realtors, don't you just get whatever is public record?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you go to the tax collector's office, you go to the property appraiser's office,
It
and it's got two
transposes,
names.
right,
Right, and it's
to
got two
MLS.
names.
Right.
And so we ask, so where is, are you married? And to, Jim. Oh, well, Jim died. I'm like, ooh, sorry.
Yeah.
We're going to need a death certificate. So
Right.
it kind of puts us in a bad place.
Right.
But, how is anybody supposed to know if
Right.
they don't tell you?
Right, exactly. Yeah, and just because it's like you're in Pasco and say the person died in Pasco doesn't mean they go right to the actual to the death certificate and can pull it up. That person has to
Right,
provide it.
right.
Same with especially if they're out of state. You can't just assume the person because there's bad people in this world who could just say Jim died and then
Yeah, right. I want proof.
Yeah.
I want to know that he died.
and then
I
Jim's
just-
happened to be in Hawaii that week. Yeah, and the missus
Yeah.
decided to sell everything while Jim was gone.
Jim comes back. Oh, Jim.
Yeah, so we've seen a lot of crazy stuff.
Yes, yes.
But yeah, so I was wondering on that too because I know a lot of people with the corporations, they buy them to protect themselves for
Right.
lawsuits and stuff, and the same with the actual trusts and stuff.
And again, it goes back to, and I just had to do it. I helped a friend of mine. They have to take it out because now insurance purposes. So there's a lot of things outside of title that affects other people with trust and people who put properties in LLCs. That's a whole different world with insurances.
Yeah. And I mean, when you're purchasing through a bank and stuff, they like to see individuals. They don't really like to see, unless you're dealing with someone who is an investor and that, you know what I mean, they're buying an actual business loan and stuff like that. They like to see an individual person's name, like you said, named and married.
It protects them. Yeah. It protects the bank.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I know you see a lot of the surveys come in and stuff like that too, as far as when...
And that's something we also order, our surveys.
Right. So that's another thing to protect you too. I mean, if you're a cash buyer, you don't have to have a survey. But if you, if you're curious of where your property line goes or easements, power easements, stuff like that.
If you're going to put a fence in, you're going to need a survey. You can't just take, this is where my property line is, and okay, well, I'm going to put a fence this way, and then your neighbor calls, hey, you're on my property. No, it's not. It's my property.
Right.
Yeah, we should have got a survey.
Right, and two, just because you see a fence there doesn't necessarily mean it's on your property.
It's on your property.
Because a lot of times people will say, well, the ugly side's in, that's our fence, and I'll say, well, that'll guide us, but a lot of times, you want to still get that survey anyway.
And that survey will give you everything you need to know.
Right.
Encroachments, which are utility drainage easements that you can't really put permanent fixtures on.
Right.
Anything that you can move, that's fine. But a fence, you can put a fence over the easement because they can just pull the fence up or knock it down or whatever.
Not a pool. Pool.
Do not put a pool on your easement.
Right. I had one in Port Richey off Main Street, and they wanted to put a pool in, and that was like, we just pulled the aerial shots, and I was like, oh, that's weird. It looks a little, it looks like something's going on there, but I couldn't tell. And the seller actually happened to have a survey. And they sent it over, and you could see the easement. And it was electrical, so you can't put a pool there. And there's no way to move that,
Yeah.
So it was kind of
and then then you have to go through the hassle of vacating that easement. And what that means is you have to go to the county, and if that easement isn't really used, then they can vacate, make it go away.
Right. So it's like as a realtor, though, you want to disclose everything as far as the surveys and stuff. But I guess we're kind of running out of time, but there's so much information for title work. We can go on for another hour.
We went through the whole process,
I know.
Jessie.
But thank you so much for coming and visiting us. If anyone needs to do some title work, we have Nightberry, Cheryl Herny. She's been there she's been in the business for 20 years, and she's the girl to help you with it. And it was great having you, and so it's great. So we're gonna come back in a week, and we're going to do Real Estate 101. We're going to come back, and we're going to go to the dogs, the SPCA, and you're going to get to meet Bindi. And she's a great dog, and she's available for our adoption. And we're going to have, that's going to be in about SPCA Suncoast. It's going to be in about 2 minutes. Thank you. Jessie Walters from Charles Rutenberg, and we're back with Diane Oberlander from the Suncoast Spca. She is a special guest with us today. Her name's Bindi, like Mindy with the B.
There she is.
And she's looking for attention. She's like, oh, thank you. She's 7 years old, right?
Yes.
7 years old, so she's still considered a senior dog, so you do get the discount on her with the senior purchase. And like I was saying the week before, if you're a senior and you buy a senior, then you get double discount. Yeah. And
Exactly.
she'd be a great pet for the holidays, great for Christmas, and she's got little Christmas decorations on.
Yes.
She's full of energy. So if you need attention, so does she. She's a good snuggler, I heard, right?
Yep, very good snuggler.
Yeah, so she has some great Christmas pictures up, too. I know at the SPCA you took a lot of them, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. She's very friendly.
Yes.
And,
She loves
we love each other, so
attention.
it's going to be hard for me to get her up. So tell us about the adoption fees. How much would be her adoption fee be for this?
Her adoption fee would be.
There she is with her little,
Oh,
she's got
yeah.
little decorations
Yes,
on.
her little.
Yeah, she's
blue
looking good. Mellow.
She would be 200, but for Christmas we're kind of reducing them, so
Oh, okay.
that's we're being a little flexible on
Oh,
that
that's
right
nice.
now.
Oh, that's great. And she comes shots.
Yeah, she's fully
spayed.
vetted, vaccinated, spayed. Yes, she's actually also been going through some training with our trainer, our volunteer trainer at the shelter.
Oh,
so
nice.
you initially she has the jumping thing initially, but she's
Okay.
been doing way better on that.
And what type of breed do they say she is? She's a
She-
mixed
they're
breed,
saying
right?
a Feist mix.
Oh, really? So that's
Yes,
real?
it was a real deal.
Oh my gosh. So when she said she's a feist mix, I was like,
Yeah,
I
she's
thought you were
feisty.
kidding. Yeah, I was like, that's a feisty dog. Yeah. Yeah, she's a great dog. She's so pretty. Her colors are so good.
Yeah.
She's one of those Brindle, right? Is that it?
right? She's about 35
Oh, yeah, look at it. She
pounds.
sat right down. You are in training, aren't you, miss?
Yes.
Nice.
She's got
So-
a great coat.
Yeah, you're so beautiful. You are. Yes. So how many dogs do you have left now over, this is on Congress Street in Newport
Right.
Richey, or Port Richey, in Suncoast
I think we have
SPCA?
like 10 about now.
10? Oh, okay.
Yeah. We have 2 seniors in addition to her other seniors. You met them both.
Yeah.
Smith and Wrigley.
Right, and
They're
Smith-
still available.
Okay, I was going to say
I'll
Smith,
let you
they're having
break the news.
interviews, right? Yeah. Smith's got an interview, so we're praying that he gets a forever home,
That's
right, this
Christmas
week?
Eve night.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so he was a beautiful dog, too. He looked like his colors were
Yeah,
painted
he
on
was
like
just a
this
little
one,
darker,
too.
but yeah.
That's nice. Yeah, so tell me about this year. Like, are you guys getting, or I know that you have to, when we were talking about volunteers, you have to fill out the application.
Right.
And you're taking them in January, but you're still
Yes.
taking people that want to foster right now, right?
Yes, for sure, yes.
Okay.
And yeah, volunteers, they'll start hearing from us beginning of the year.
Okay.
We're really going to jump on that.
Right. Okay. And so if you want to foster for the SPCA and you don't want to actually keep a dog, but you might end up, keeping a
Right,
dog.
I know,
But
that's cute.
if you want to just foster, she's a great dog. And there's other great dogs there too. Yeah, they're
There's a lot
beautiful.
of
So
them,
far,
yeah.
everyone that has come in has been, I was like, oh, I want to take it home.
Right,
I
I
every
know, it's
single
hard
one.
not to.
Yeah, so tell us about the actual, when you're fostering, how long do they usually keep them? Just, you have to bring them back, you were
kind
saying
of-
before?
Kind of depends on the situation. By the way, Bindi has a trach issue, so that's why she wears a harness versus a collar.
Oh, okay.
So, because that when she gets excited,
She's like,
you'll
"Come
hear
here."
that.
Yeah.
It's almost like collapse.
Oh, okay,
So,
yeah.
she wears a harness.
She sounds a little asthmatic,
So
kinda.
just so anybody is
Yeah.
worried about that, that's what it is.
Okay.
Fostering is, kind of what you want to do, how long you want to do it,
Right.
If we have, harder dogs to place, it's always great to have a home that's open to any amount of time so they can work with the dog and help them improve in whatever, is it training, is it, behavioral or whatever.
Right.
So stay.
So that's something you can do if you're at home and you're during the quarantine.
Yeah.
And you want to, you want a dog on the coffee table. If you're at home during the quarantine and you want some companion, but you don't want to commit to a full-time dog because you're
Yeah.
not sure how things are going, you can actually foster and bring her home. And I'm sure it'll break your heart when she does find a home.
Right. So what happens there too is then we just ask the fosters, hey, be available probably on a Saturday, when we're open, so that if there's any appointments for her, you're there with her.
Right. So
and
she's
she
a
could be
dog
seen.
interview.
Right.
Yeah.
So you just need to be a little flexible with your time, but otherwise you get the best end of the deal.
Yeah.
Having her.
Yeah, you get kind of a temporary dog, and then you can find out if you're actually ready for a dog
Right,
too. That way,
exactly.
So if you're not
That's a
ready, you don't have to
great
feel
way to
bad.
figure that out, yes.
So if you want to take her home, you could take her home and get attached to her, and then turn your foster into a full-time thing. Or if you don't want to, because you're not sure about relocations, like we were saying with COVID and stuff, people don't know exactly sure if
Yes.
they're relocating or where they're moving or if they're staying in different locations. So
We
that'd
have
be
a
great.
lot of that going on.
Yeah.
You talk about that. That's we have a lot of surrenders. Like this coming Wednesday's our surrender days.
Yeah.
On Wednesday we're booked for our schedule for that.
That's what
day.
the next thing I was going to ask you. So if you have a dog and you're having problems at home and you want to, basically surrender your dog has to be up to date on shots.
Correct.
And in great,
up to
like
date.
health, right? Great
Vaccine,
health.
all vaccines current.
Okay.
rabies, current. There you go, babe. Yeah, just, the typical before these guys go out the door.
Right.
As long as they're vaccinated, we can put them into our population and then put them out on the floor to be adopted.
Right, and you want them to be healthy so that they don't
Make the
put the
others
other
sick,
ones,
right.
at any risk.
Right.
Yeah, so they have to be up to date. But I mean, if you love your dog and you're sad that you have to give them up, then it's ideal to have that situation. You know your
Right.
dog's going to be healthy.
Right.
And when you surrender them and stuff. So to surrender your dog, you have to go online and fill out the online application, just as if you were going to volunteer or foster. It's all online too, right?
Correct.
So you'll go online and then you'll basically make an appointment. And they were saying that they do get dogs that at some point people will just tie to the fence and stuff like that. Don't do that. Make your appointment.
do that.
Do it the right way. That way your dog ends up in a nice
Yes,
place, in a nice
yes.
home. Yeah. So and so you were saying she's 7, right? She's
Yeah,
like you were saying?
but she's an active 7.
Yeah,
She's seriously
really
a busybody.
active. Yeah, she
She's
is.
all up in everybody's business.
Yeah.
So yeah, she can't be going to a family that, maybe they like to sit around and watch movies or something.
Yeah.
She'll like that for a little bit.
Yeah, for about 30 minutes, right? She's like, take me
she
out,
wants
run
her
with
walk,
me.
she wants
yeah, if
to
you're,
play.
she's like a really active dog,
She
so
very
she'd be
much
great
is.
if you like, or January 1st is coming. Everybody's gonna have New Year's resolutions. You want to get out
Yeah,
and
get
get
out and
active.
walk,
She'll
yeah.
make you get active.
For real,
Yeah,
she would love
Don't get
that,
a treadmill.
too.
Get Bindi
Yeah,
here.
get Bindi.
Yeah, Bindi will make you
Get
active.
yourself a Bindi.
Yeah.
Everybody needs one.
Yeah. Yeah, she's really good. So I wonder, like, some of these the little ones like this are good at Frisbee too. She looks like she's so
Yeah,
she
she could be. We haven't tried that with her. But yeah, she's the perfect size too for some of these breed and weight restricted
Yeah, for
areas.
apartments and rentals and
With
stuff.
35 pounds, she would actually be able to
Gotta calm
fit
down.
those requirements.
Yeah, exactly. So tell me about the cats that you have. How many cats do you
Oh
have?
my goodness, we have kittens galore.
Oh,
like
nice.
raining kittens.
Oh, really?
Yes. We have, most of the males are in foster. We're just waiting
Oh, okay.
to do some vetting on the females, and then they can go in foster. And then come mid-January, they're all going in for their finals, and then they'll be formally adopted
Oh,
by
nice.
the families.
Oh,
so.
okay. So you already have a wait list for the kittens?
They're already, most of them are already in their families that they will be
Oh,
formally
okay.
adopted
Oh,
by.
that's
so they
nice.
could be fostered and not at the shelter. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
so here's some too. I don't know if that's an
Oh,
adult.
yeah.
So do you have any adult cats left too?
We
Aw.
actually, I know
They're
we
so
have
cute.
2 that their names are escaping me at the moment, but they're not a pair that came together, but they end up being a pair that are bonded. They
Oh,
like
that's
bonded
nice.
at the shelter. So we're hoping that we can get
Place them
both
together.
Yeah, that
Oh,
would be
are
the
they?
hope.
How old are they?
I want to say,
Is that them?
Cleopatra is one of them.
Oh, okay. She's really pretty.
Yeah, I think they're both senior. Does it say she's 12?
Oh, okay. Wow. Some of these dogs, like this one, they don't look like she's 7. Cleopatra, you know what I mean? They look so young.
Oh, I know.
You would never know.
You see how they behave, and you're like, holy cow.
Yeah, full of energy. And so how do they, when you guys get I know if they just come in, if you pick them from Pasco County, sometimes you do the animal control, you kind of look at their teeth for the age. Is that what they do?
From what I understand, it's teeth, and then my vet tech told me it's really more eyes.
Oh, okay, their eyes. See if
Yeah.
they have the cataracts coming in and stuff. Yeah.
Right. But that's what we do too. We just kind of check the teeth. You can get, somewhat of an idea
Right.
of around the age. So
So the ones that come from animal control, what is the deal there? I mean, I know a lot of people will take.
what's great about there is they're actually already vetted. They do all that expense, at their facility. So
Oh,
when
okay.
places like SPCA and others pull from there, we're pulling dogs that are already fully vetted. Once they've kind of acclimated to our environment at our shelter, then we can put them out on the floor.
Oh, that's nice.
To be adopted, to be seen and adopted.
Right, because I always get scared when they go to animal control because I'm like,
No,
I didn't know.
don't.
No, okay.
Honestly, unless you have some sort of vicious,
Right.
that's not what they're doing.
Right,
You know what I
they're
mean?
putting them out to all the
Yes.
different.
There's a bunch of us that will pull from them and adopt out their dogs.
Right.
And the beautiful thing is having these other shelters pulling them actually enables different locations to get different dogs. We in Pasco County at SPCA, for some reason, we do great with pit bulls.
Right.
But I see hounds are not so great here, but they're better in different areas.
Yeah, probably Brooksville, like
Yeah,
more hunting
more
areas.
area.
Yeah,
Yes.
more rural.
So
yeah,
that's what makes it great for us to pull them, because in a way you can kind of pull for your area and you have a better opportunity.
and do
to
they
adopt
pull
them out.
cats and kittens from there too, or do
Oh,
you
yeah.
guys have? Oh, okay.
But we haven't had to.
Yeah, because you're just having more and more,
Oh, my
actually
goodness.
donated and
Yes,
surrendered. And
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's your maximum capacity there? So if I went in to see animals, what do you guys usually have?
I think it's, well, we usually probably have 17, but we can do 25.
Oh, okay.
So you want to leave the extra kennels for incoming dogs that need to kind of acclimate. You know, it's a
Right.
stressful transition.
Yeah.
So we like to allow them to have some time to acclimate before they go straight out on that floor with
Right.
their other friends looking for a home.
Right. So now also, I know when people lose a pet, they'll put it on like Facebook Marketplace. They'll call animal control. What do you suggest? I know that you guys used to have the little file cabinet, like little paper file cabinet
Right.
back in the, you know what I mean? Because I remember losing a pet and going in there, and you guys
Yes.
had little 3x5 cards, you
Gosh,
know?
they have so many different. It's usually apps. There's apps on your phone that
Yeah,
you
like
can,
Paw, what is it?
Paw Boost?
Yeah, the Paw Boost.
Yeah, your local, your Trinity chat
here.
and that kind of thing. I know, she's just going to do her thing.
She's like, come here,
Bindi, come.
Bindi, come here. So it's like Mindy with a B. She's
Right.
like, no.
Oh, boy.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Okay. Don't open the door. Make sure that
Yeah,
door
so
can't
Bindi's
open.
doing good. She's running around now. She's like, I'm finally free.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
she's making friends over there.
yeah,
That's
so
good.
she's like she bonded right when she came in to one of the guys that are in the front, and now she's like, I've
She
gone to
thinks her
see him. So that's your dog now. So I don't know if Bindi's still up for adoption.
Right, we'll let you know.
No. Yeah, he's saying no on the set. No. Okay, so yeah, that's awesome. But yeah, so on the actual, on the adoptions and stuff like that, it's great to, to actually do something and, instead of just going and paying for that dog, it's, it's something, especially this time of year and stuff, Christmas time, it's
Saving
nice
a life.
yeah.
Giving, and you know what I have to say, these dogs, oh boy, I told you, she's a busybody. They get the best of both their breeds, it seems like
Yeah.
most of the time, or, whatever breeds they are. Every dog we've ever rescued, and I know many say it, and I'm sure you too, is you just seem to get these really awesome dogs. And
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
I'm always
mixed.
telling my husband, I think we got the best of both breeds in our dog,
Yeah. He's like, don't bring another one home.
Right.
That's it.
Pretty much,
No
yeah.
more. Yeah. So tell us what you guys need over there. I know I kind of go over this again with every time you come in, but what are the needs? I know on the dog foods and the,
Yeah, dog food is Purina, Pro Plan, chicken and rice. Cat food can be Pro Plan as well, any flavor. We also, we can't take blankets or any sort of linen right now because of
Oh,
COVID.
COVID, right.
We've been stopped. So, yeah.
she's like checking out everybody and everything.
Bindi is
Yeah,
starting
that's
to work.
hilarious. Yeah. She's like, I'll place myself.
Apparently
You can't
she's
find
got
me
a
a home.
job.
I'll find a home. Yeah, she's
But,
doing good.
yeah, so also cleaning supplies, I know that's lame, but
Yeah.
it
Well,
is
what
stuff
kind
you
of
always
cleaning
need.
supplies though?
Anything, with COVID, we'll take anything because we're
Anything.
wiping down counters and doors.
Right, every time they
everything
come in.
Right.
So when you come in, is there a COVID protocol? You're wearing masks and
Yep.
6 foot, right?
Yep.
And you should make an appointment if you want to
Yes.
go in too, right?
Yes, exactly.
Right. Yeah. So for instance, so say someone wants to see Bindi, what's the best thing, to go online or to call for the appointment, or?
I would go online and make your appointment. It's
Okay.
super easy that way, and that way you also know that you actually have a time on the schedule.
Right, and we'll put all your information, contact
Perfect.
information up so that you guys can see how, if anybody wants to do an interview with Bindi, she's a wild woman.
Yes, she is.
She's really
It's easy
sweet,
to
yeah.
keep up.
Yeah, and you can go online and you can actually make an appointment with her and stuff. There's also, you can go online to interview the other dogs too, take a look. They're just spacing them out because of COVID, so you're going to have to
Right.
wear a mask. And
Yes.
if you're seriously going to adopt, you want to bring your family too, because everyone's going to have to meet the dog. And if you have another dog at home, you're going to have to actually introduce those dogs and make sure that they're good together too.
Correct.
And they make all of that possible there, so you can have that interaction with your kids, with the new dog,
Right.
your your other dog or,
Right.
you know, do they, so now when they're adopting and say, I'm bringing in my dog, do they bring in cats with dogs too to introduce them or not so much?
No, not so much.
Okay.
Yeah, cats are too, challenging.
How is she
to
with
get
cats?
there.
Is she-
She does not like cats.
She doesn't, okay, I was going to say, she's pretty active, so.
And I think it's also because of her breed.
Yeah.
And she also, she's selective about her friends, her dog friends too.
Oh, okay. So she
So,
likes.
not any
she-
different than a human.
Yeah.
But she doesn't like everybody. Usually she likes them calmer and
Not like herself.
exactly.
She's
She's
like-
like, follow my lead, don't be the leader.
Yeah. She's like, I'm the leader. I'm the leader of the
much.
pack. Yeah, she's really cute. Yeah, she's
in here
busy.
checking
I can't believe she's
everything
7. I said that about Smith too.
I know,
The other,
right?
he and with his little
Wrigley,
ball.
remember?
Yeah, they were
10?
very energetic.
I know, crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, my dog's 6, and it makes them, look like he's just mellowed out compared to these.
Right.
I guess it's a personality, just like people,
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, there's awesome ways to get involved. And, as it's saying on here, and also when you, it's Christmas time and when you want to donate, here's the SPCA local, this is Port Richey, so Pasco, but there's one in Pinellas, there's one in Hillsborough, there's one,
there's a lot
Hernando,
of them
there's SPCAs everywhere that if you'd like to donate your time,
Right.
you just go online, fill it out, and we'll find out on January 1st. And if you want to do your fostering, again, go online. So the best way is to go online with
Yes.
everything.
Yeah.
And then if you're old school and you can't figure it out, just call in and they can help you.
Exactly. We'll always
so
help.
yeah, and then it also help to make that appointment too. So
Yes.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in and visiting with
Oh,
me
thanks
today.
for having
yeah.
us and showcasing our pooches.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry about
we're-
Bindi. I told you she was.
Yeah, I know. We'll come back we're going to try to come back, once a week to showcase a dog if they have time to bring them in. If not, we'll bring them in the following week and showcase and try to help out the local SPCAs in the area to
We
help you
appreciate
guys adopt. And then,
Yes.
people will see how they are interacting. Because, when you see a picture and you actually see the dog in person, the interaction is what, sells the dog,
It totally is. Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
So thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and we're going to come back next week. I'm Jessie Walters with Charles Rutenberg, and we're going to put up all my information on how to get in contact with me if you guys are listing, if you're selling, if you're buying, if you want foreclosures, whatever it is, or just questions. I'm always here to help, and we're always going to be here on the Real Estate 101, and we're going to go over just questions and answers that you have. But thanks so much for joining us, and hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, and hope to see you guys back next week.